Hello, Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce members. This is Drew Camp, President and CEO of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce, here with our February 24th weekly legislative update. I wanted to start by thanking the legislators, Senator Dawson and Representatives Segrist and Turek, who were able to join us for this afternoon's legislative roundtable, as well as right around 30 to 35 attendees that we had as well. I appreciated you all being there and supporting us, and we look forward to continuing to have those into the next month. And just as a reminder, next month on Saturday, March 25th, we will actually host one at Wilson Auditorium. It'll be open to the public, and it'll run from 9 to 10:30 a.m. on that Saturday, March 25th. So we look forward to having an even more packed room and talking about even more important issues with our local legislators. Kind of getting into the local policy issues that we're watching this week, just to start, was the week before funnel. This week tends to be very busy as they work through a lot of the different bills that they need to get passed out of committees outside of Ways and Means Appropriation and leadership bills. And so they were very, very active in both subcommittees and committees this week, and they will into next week as well. With regards to some of our key policy bills, we did see movement, even though they're funnel proof as Ways and Means bill. We saw some subcommittees and committee meetings on property tax and I will. And those are things that we're watching very closely. We just had a lot of a really good conversation about both of those with Senator Dawson at the legislative roundtable. And some of the things that we're watching closely within those are how they can impact TIF, how they can impact abatement. There is some conversations about wind TIFs. We tend to be more receptive to those changes to TIFs based on wind. But we want to have some other good conversations regarding TIF and abatement, as they might tie into either one of the two bills related specifically to property tax that Senator Dawson put forward, and within some of the property tax changes that are within the I will bill as well. So one of the things we have to kind of keep in mind on those is the Senate's really leading the charge. Senator Dawson and the Ways and Means Committee are leading the charge on these bills. The anticipation is then obviously get them passed through Ways and Means, get them brought over through the Senate, and then have Representative Kaufman as the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee take up those bills. Representative Segrist is part of that Ways and Means Committee, so we'll be very well versed once it gets over there as well as to how those conversations are going. And those are really two of our key bills that we're watching. Another major bill that we're watching that's going to take a lot of time, just frankly due to the sheer size of it, and consolidating 36 to 16, I believe it is, government departments and just everything that goes into it, is the government reorganization bill. We continue to hear that the vast majority of it is positive and that it will have good benefits for the state, but it's obviously the devil in the details and just working through that 15 to 10% that does need a little cleaning up. And we heard a really good synopsis of that today at the roundtable, as well as Representative Segrist kind of talked how the House is looking at it. And then also from Senator Dawson from the Senate perspective as well, and then Representative Turek as well from the minority perspective in the House caucus. A few other bills that we're watching really close is port authorities. That was one we really pushed last year. It's now come up. There's a subcommittee next week, go through commerce and then get into Ways and Means and really make it funnel proof. So that'll be very much a positive to get that moved forward and out during the funnel week. Another thing that we saw is there was a couple of weeks ago, the Med-Mal bill, which we were very happy to see passed to put a non-economic damage cap of $2 million on medical malpractice. That's really big for our competition, especially across the river. One that we're also watching is trucker tort reform, and it's the same cap, $2 million cap. And that's something we have a lot of trucking and transportation and logistics in the state. We have a lot in this region, in this community, in this area. So that's something that we also are continuing to watch to see where that goes and how that moves forward as well. And another bill that's also really important as far as kind of working through blighted areas and working through and doing some infill developments in communities such as ours would be the land development trusts. That's something that we are seeing move forward. Senator Dawson's really kicked that off in House Senate Ways and Means. There's a lot of interest in it just because it's another tool in the toolbox. As we said at the legislative roundtable, you look across the river, they have sanitary improvement districts, they have economic improvement districts. We have a better TIF system than them. We have some other positives as well, but this is just another tool in the toolbox for us to compete with our neighboring states and make sure that we're doing all we can for that infill and community development within our areas. And another piece that we continue to watch closely is the mega site program bill through IEDA, and also their technical bill. Technical bill would address things like the angel investor tax credits, the innovation tax credits and their sunsetting, and the biorenewables bill. So those are things that are obviously very important as we look at trying to attract and retain businesses. We want to make sure we have certainty and we have those programs being afforded into outlying years and know what that future looks like. So we really hope that we can see that technical bill move forward. And then also want to have a conversation about the mega site program. It's very new and it's a different concept when you're looking at these $1 billion+ deals, but it's something that we need to look at and have a conversation about, especially because the predominant site, honestly, throughout the state very well is in our backyard. It's in Mills County. So that's something that's going to be very beneficial to our area and to our partners at Mid-American Energy and other utilities and other economic development partners. The government reorganization bill, I mentioned that already a little bit. That's going to take a lot of time as well. It's just a very large bill, and what we expect to see is in the Senate, they've moved it through the state government committee. In the House, they're taking a more methodical approach, about 4 or 5 different subcommittees. Representative Segrist is on state government, so it will be going through that committee. So that's something we anticipate going out for several more weeks and towards the end of session, just because the sheer size of it, right around 900 pages alone, is with the health services realignment. So just making sure that everything's done in the correct manner. And really the last thing that I want to touch on is as I said before, this week was a busy week with funnel week next week. Next week is funnel week. It'll be busy then, and we'll have an idea of what bills did and did not make it. A lot of our bills that we're watching, they're all funnel proof, but there are some other key ones like port authorities, things like that we do need to get over the hump prior to the legislative funnel next Friday. And what that really means is just they have to pass out of their respective Senate committees outside of the funnel proof committees. And then in a couple weeks down the line, they have to pass out of their respective committees in the opposite chamber. So that's something we're going to continue to watch, and obviously just winnows down and weans out the different bills to make sure that we have the final rounds of policy to be considered going into the closing days of session. So with that, I will end again by thanking all those who participated, attended, supported as sponsors in other ways by attending the legislative roundtable. Again, watch for the one next month on March 25th at Wilson Elementary, 9 to 10:30. And just want to end, as I always do, but just by expressing gratitude and thanking you all for your continued support of the Council Bluffs Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you and have a nice rest of the day.